Hi everyone, it's Holly Smith here, and I had created the Stampin' Blends storage case out of an old paper pumpkin box, and a lot of you really loved the design that I came up with and had asked about this white divider that I did in here. So I'm going to do a video because I really don't know how to explain it and just writing it. So what you're going to need are some 5 by 12 pieces of paper, and you're going to need 4 of them. Okay, so, and it does need to be 5 by 12. So you're going to need 4 of those, and then you're going to need 2 pieces that are 12 by 1. All right, and the hardest part in this is the scoring. I know that should sound pretty easy, but it can be a little difficult. So I'm going to show you what I did. I don't really have measurements as in each one to use your scoring board. The way I do it, I think it's going to be a little easier for you. So what you're going to do, if you can remember the pattern, 5/8, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 5/8. That's what you're going to do through the whole piece of paper. So what I do is I take it over to 5/8 of an inch, and I use the little side here first, and I would score that, okay? Then I turn my paper around, just because now I'm going to be going across here. I'm going to take that score line that I just did, and I'm going to place it at 1 1/4. All right, so I'm not really measuring just for over here. That score line that I just did at 5/8 of an inch, I'm going to put it 1 1/4, and I'm going to score. Okay, now that new score line, I'm going to move over to 1 1/4, and I'm going to score. So now I know that I need to score at 5/8 of an inch. So that new line that I just scored, I'm going to move over to 5/8 of an inch, and you can see I'm right up here, and I'm going to score. Now I know I need to do 1 1/4 again, 1 1/4, so I'm going to move that score line to 1 1/4, score, 1 1/4, score, and then I know I'm ready for 5/8 of an inch again, so that score line I just did, I'm going to move over to 5/8 of an inch. All right, so when you're finished, you're going to have a piece of paper that looks like this: 5/8, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 5/8, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 5/8. If you want to do the math and figure out exactly, you know, 5/8 and then what the next one is, you can do that. I just found that that was the easiest for me. All right, you're going to be left over on this piece of paper, the first piece, with a piece here at the end after the 1 1/4. Okay, leave that on there. All right, because you're going to actually glue something to here. Then you're going to do your next piece. All right, so again, you're going to do 5/8, 1 1/4, just the same way as you did the first one. All right, but when you're finished, we're going to actually turn this one around because we need to get 2 1 1/4 inch pieces together, as you can see here. All right, to continue our pattern. So on this one, I'm actually going to cut off that last piece, not the first piece, because remember, I turned it around. And we're going to cut that piece off. I'm just going to use our scissors here that we used to sell. I don't know about you guys, but I miss them. All right, and we're going to actually glue this 1 1/4 piece right up to that score line there. And now we're still continuing our pattern: 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 5/8, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 5/8 on down. Okay, then you're going to take your third piece, score it the exact same way. Start with 5/8 of an inch, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 5/8 of an inch, and then you're going to get down to this last piece here. And this time though, so we take our second piece, we would have glued that together, because what we need to do is make one continual piece. All right, so now we're at the end here. Well, we're going to keep this one the way it is. We have 2 5/8 of an inch together, so what we're going to do is just glue those 2 pieces together. All right, so to continue our pattern. And then our fourth and final piece, score it all the same. Start at 5/8 and do it all the way down, and it's almost like the first piece. All right, we need to get those 2 1/4 inch pieces together, so I'm going to cut off, because it would be like this. This is our 5/8. Well, this is the one we got to turn around. Got to get 2 1 1/4 inch pieces together, so cut off this piece, and we're going to glue that together right there. It's that simple. All right, so I've glued all of my 4 pieces together. Okay, so as long as you remember the pattern 5/8, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 5/8 throughout all 4 of your pieces of paper, and you glue them together in that fashion, you should have one humongous piece of paper that we will eventually get down to fit into that box. All right, so now we got to start prepping this paper. and getting it folded. So what you're going to do is your 5/8 of an inch is what's going to be what the marker lays on. Okay, your two 1 1/4 inch pieces are you're going to fold up like this. You're going to fold this one up. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we will be gluing these two pieces of 1 1/4 and 1 1/4 together. And that's real important for this because that's going to create stability. All right, because we have the two pieces of paper and I'm going to be using the glue, which will allow it to even make it more substantial. Okay, so now we're going to go down here and fold it, and we're going to fold each one. All right, so your 5/8 of an inch will be the one that's down. So we're going to fold, it's easier if you fold it like this. Okay, so fold 5/8 inch up and fold that under. And then what this is your two 1/4 inch pieces together. So here's the 5/8. We're going to fold on this one here. We're going to fold that up. And we're going to lay it on top of the other. It's the two 1 1/4 inch pieces together. Okay, do you see that? Okay. So we're going to again, so we'll just hold those up like this. This 5/8 of an inch, go ahead and fold that up. Fold that down. Okay, and I will go back with my bone folder here in a few minutes and really make sure that these are good. So, and then once I get that folded over, I just fold it back over to fold that other line here on the 1 5/8. So I think you can see the pattern that's happening here. This is a technique that I learned from a lady that makes folios and albums. I've made many albums of my own. Her name is Kathy Orta, which her name now is Kathy Fine. This is called her Hidden Hinge. Alright, so when you're finished, we're going to be able to glue these together to create this divider that's going to fit in that box. Now before we can glue this together though, there's one other thing I wanted to do because I didn't want this to be in the box and have these just being able to move so freely. Okay, I really wanted stability in this box. So when I put the markers in, this isn't falling over, okay? I wanted it to be stable, as you can see in the back here. So what I did is I decided to create another anchor. All right, so now we're gonna bring in the two 1 by 12 inch pieces, and the pattern on this one is 5/8 of an inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 5/8 of an inch, okay? And you're gonna do that all the way down on both pieces. And I did it very similar to the way I did here. I just did the 5/8 of an inch to move that line that I just scored to a 1/2 inch, move that line that I just scored to a 1/2 inch, and then I started at 5, just do the pattern. And what we're gonna do is very similar to what we just did with the other one, is we're gonna go ahead and get this folded. Now what this is going to do, okay, because this is gonna look very similar to the other one, but what we're gonna do is anchor this to the back of this. When we go to glue these two pieces together, we're actually gonna glue this right in with it. And now that's gonna create an anchor for this to not move around when the markers aren't in there, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and work and get this done. So now what we wanna do is there's 5/8 of an inch here, and there's the end piece here that's also 5/8 of an inch. You're gonna glue those together. That's an overlap piece. And then what I'm gonna do on this piece is I'm gonna go ahead and take these two 1/2 inch pieces that are gonna go together, and I'm gonna go ahead and glue each of those together. So basically you just put some glue on one side, and we're going to hold it. Making this will take a little time, but you'll be so happy when you get with the end results. Okay, so when you're finished gluing those pieces together, this is what it looks like. Isn't it amazing how that big piece gets down to this? All right, now we're gonna bring in our big piece. And I'm going to start gluing together the 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch pieces. But once I get the glue on, let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the glue on one side. And this one you want to make sure you cover, you don't want to ooze it, okay? So you want one side covered, and then you want just a little bit of the other side covered, because what you're going to do, whoops, I did the wrong side. Let me do this side. Okay, and let me flip it back over, and I'm going to take this piece, stick this piece here in the half inch that you put together, and we're going to secure that right in there like that. Okay, see how that's right in there? Okay, and then just hold it and make sure the rest of it gets glued really well. We're all stuck together. And now that's going to create, when we go to start putting the next piece in, like this, now you can see that it's going to always stay up. Okay, I created an anchor for it. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the rest of them. Okay, so I'm just continuing on. This is what it's looking like, so you can see how it's coming together. Okay, I just flip it over. I take the glue and put it on one side of the 1 by 1/4. Okay, and then a little bit at the top, just so we can get some glue on the other side for this piece. Turn it back over. Grab this, and right before I squeeze it together, we're going to put this back piece in there. And then I take my time and I really work that glue in there. Okay, you want that glue to be touching every piece. You want this to be stable. Okay, if it's not stable, then it's going to come apart and it's not going to do exactly what you want it to do. Just take your time with it. If you're going to spend the time to make it, take your time and make sure that you get it all done properly. So if you look at this, we should have 14 slots, and out here, this is considered 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so actually we have 15, and what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and cut off this last piece. All right, we only need 14. 15's not gonna fit. So 1, I just wanna make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just take this last piece off here. Not a big deal, guys. And only cut off, we do want this little piece up here, so we're just gonna cut it right here at the side. Okay, perfect. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna take some tear and tape and to get this ready, and I'm gonna put a piece across this back here, right towards the top. Okay, you can tear that off. And then I'm gonna do another one on the bottom of this right here. And then I'm going to explain what I'm going to do here in just a minute. We're not going to put one in the center. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing on the bottom here. And then the last thing I'm going to do is one across the bottom here, or the side. So what I've done is I've taken one of the boxes, went ahead and decorated it up. All I do is take 2 pieces of designer series paper. You're going to need 2 of the same. You're going to need 3 pieces that are 6 by 9. And that's for a piece on the top, a piece right here on the inside of the lid, and a piece on the bottom. Okay, I know we're going to be covering some of it, but I liked a piece on the bottom as well. Then you're going to need 4 pieces that are 1.5 by 9. So 1 for here, 1 for here, and 1 for here. Okay, and 1 for here. So that's 4. And then you're also going to need 4 pieces that are 6 by 1.5, and that's for each side of the sides here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Now, before I put this in and secure this in, I did not want to have to try to dig down into my box to get the markers out. So I did a little bit of cutting on this, and I'm going to show you what I did. Okay. You want to do a 1/4 inch. And I have a Tim Holtz ruler. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend them. I wish Stampin' Up! Had one. But I like the fact that it's a 1/4 inch horizontal on the ruler okay, not just vertical. So when I have a project like this, I can move this down to 1/4 inch across the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and take a pencil and just draw a line. It's okay, I'm using a pencil, not worried about it. Then I want to go in 1 inch from the side, and I'm going to make a mark. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to do 1 inch. I'll just do it the other way. And we're going to make a mark. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and only go in about 1/8 of an inch, and I'm just going to draw a line from this dot that I made 1 inch in. All right, and draw a line, okay, all the way up. And we're going to do the same thing on this side, from the inch in, up, okay? Now what I've done is I've just created a guide for me, because I'm going to cut along this line here and then across. So that way, let me show you what it looked like on the one that I did. That way you have this nice opening here. When you open this up, you have this really nice opening here to be able to grab your markers. They're not the only ones you're going to have maybe a little problem with are the ones here on the side, but it's really not even that big of a problem. So all I did to cut this is I took an X-Acto knife and I just went ahead and kind of scored it. I didn't try to do it really hard at first, just go across that line. I was okay if it wasn't perfect. Okay. And then I just went back over it because now we have something to guide, and just go all the way down. Just be careful, guys. You are using an X-Acto knife. And then all we're going to do is the same thing going up. And then you remove that. Now you're going to be able to get those markers out, but it has that little bit of a lip. And I did put the paper over it first because I did want that to be covered. All right. Now what we're going to do, let's make sure this fits in here. Look, so awesome. Love it. Okay, so this is going to fit right inside here. Here's what I did. Okay. It's a little tricky. You're going to take off your tear and tape. Now this whole area here that's in the center of the back here, I am actually going to put glue. I like to use both sometimes, especially with something big like this, because I just want even more stability. Don't forget to put a little bit on the back here in the center. And then we're going to carefully, guys, you got to make sure it's all the way up. Okay, so go ahead and secure that into place. Run your fingers down each one. And that is how I created my box. So you could take your markers. At first I thought they could all fit this way, but then it just, once you got them in there, it was too big, but then they work on their side, which is even better because you can read right there on the side what color it is. I did mine in alphabetical order, okay, just like it is there in the catalog, and that's how I store my paper as well. I do them in alphabetical order, and it just is so simple to have those there. The last 2 slots, I did the bronze and the ivory, and then my collar lifter is here at the end. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't too crazy to understand. You just have to remember the pattern for the big divider part. 5/8 of an inch, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 5/8. When you're doing your little 1 by 12 inch strips, it's 5/8 of an inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 5/8 of an inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Okay, and then just make sure you watch the video back if you need to see how I just lined up the score line with these different measurements, and that way it just made it easier for me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.